Hello, and welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I'm your host, Anna Hastie, business mindset coach for women and a sound healer. If you are ready to become the most aligned, magnetic, and confident businesswoman you are worthy and deserving of being, then this show is for you. This is where I share everything from mindset, energy, and spirituality, and how to embody your future self in business and life. Sprinkle that with deeply relaxing sound healings and meditations, and you have the Alchemy Mindset podcast. Hit subscribe so you always get the latest episode. Now let's begin. Hello, dear listener, and welcome to another inspiring episode of Alchemy Mindset. In today's episode, I chat with Kelly Connolly from Love Body Woman as she retells her incredible journey through several iterations of her professional life to the point of now. Now, this isn't just a conversation about what she does and who she supports and how she can help you and the journey she's taken to get there and things like that. We're really following the conversation around the fact that she now finds herself truly sitting in a place of the unknown and how she's come to embrace this uncertainty with open arms. In other words, Kelly is now sitting in a place where she knows that her business is evolving and it's moving into something new and incredible and powerful and exciting, but she doesn't know what it is. Now, in that conversation, she reflects on the early days of her journey where she often felt the pressure to push for the next step, follow the advice of many, and only just be met with resistance and this sense of that she was forcing things to happen. And for some of us, it can be really confronting and hard to embrace the idea that you just sit and let go and trust that the guidance is going to tell you where to go next and what it is that you're meant to be doing. I'm not going to lie. I love knowing where my next path is and my next journey and what's going to happen. But I also know deep down what it is like to force and push for something that's just not meant to be. Kelly and I circle around a lot around our mind, our mindset, and the inner critic and dialogue that can often derail us from our dreams, keep us stuck, and be so judgmental of our own actions. I knew this would be a really special episode to share just because Kelly is really sitting in this place of letting go and just following her creativity and heart to allow her next business journey to unfold in the natural and easy way that it's meant to. So get yourself comfortable, get yourself cozy, tune in as you hear from Kelly from Love Body Woman. And also stay tuned to the end because she offers a really awesome offer, which I'm probably going to be accessing myself. So stay tuned to find out all the details about that at the end. Please remember to give Kelly some love on the socials and let us know what you found most inspiring from this conversation. I love hearing all your feedback. But without further ado, let's begin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the Alchemy Mindset podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you on my show today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Excited.
Yeah, it's fun. I love just having conversations with other women in business, other solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, however we love to describe ourselves, mompreneurs, all those funny fancy names, founders, CEOs, all those kind of things. And just sharing your story and your business and your journey and all the things that have just led you up until this moment in time. And I know everybody who comes onto the show has just so much divine wisdom and knowledge and all those divine gold nuggets of information that really do help support all our communities, really, and all our listeners when it comes to navigating business and life and things like that. So, Kelly,
yes.
I won't take any more time up. Please just take a moment to introduce yourself. Who are you? What's happening in your business world right now?
Wow. Okay. So I am the founder of Love Body Woman, and I like to use the word founder because I think there are many components to who I am in this business. So that just kind of encapsulates the whole thing. I have been in business for a very long time, and it has evolved quite significantly, especially in the last couple of years. But it feels good now. It feels like I'm in the right place for it. And I'm enjoying it even more than I used to. Don't even know if I enjoyed it all that much before, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place and I'm excited about what's to come.
Amazing. So just going back to the start, what is Love Body Wisdom and how did you know that that's something that you wanted to create and start as a business for yourself?
So back in 2016, I think it was, I graduated as a nutritional medicine practitioner. And the original idea of me wanting to become a nutritionist was to help children because I was a nanny for a very long time. And in doing that, I saw there was, a little bit of a lack of knowledge, I guess, with parents in what to feed their kids. And I did not have a very good diet when I was younger. My diet was terrible. And I've had an issue with food for a very long time. So that was kind of the I guess, everything else that's come after. And it evolved. But as I was doing that, when I was writing a lot of different things, I found that I was writing more to the women than for the children.
Yeah, right.
And one day I just kind of went, oh, there must be something in that. So I changed again. So I was the Rainbow Nutritionist as a children's nutritionist. And then I changed to Energizing Health and Fitness. I got my personal training qualifications as well because I really enjoy doing that. And I did that for a little while, but it still just didn't feel quite right. And I was just kind of pushing myself because I knew without a doubt that I had to do my own thing. Yes, I was working for a company, but I knew that working for myself was ultimately where I needed to be in whatever aspect that was going to be.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of, I don't know, again, it just flowed into, it was originally Love Body. Sometimes I feel like I can't make up my mind. I'm like all over this. But eventually I get there. So Love Body then became Love Body Woman. And then that is stuck. I'm like, that is it. It cannot be anything else. That feels like it's the best thing. But even though that name is stuck, the premise of my business has evolved into something very different over these last couple of years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been quite the ride.
How so, like as in a ride? Like just describe that. What's that been like for you?
Because of my mindset, it's been frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said, I knew I had to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This was my path in life, I guess you could say. So that in mind, and then changing constantly, I felt frustrated with myself because I'm like, well, why am I not getting it? And it was just all of those old thoughts and those old feelings of I'm hopeless, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of any of this, I can't do it. That all played a massive role in, I guess, not really getting anywhere with it. Like I kind of feel like I'd get so far and then I'd bump up against myself, really.
And what was like getting so far? Was that in terms of like attracting clients, selling your services, supporting women, or did that look like something else?
It was all of that. It was getting clients. When I was in the infancy stages in the Rainbow Nutritionist stage, I put out a little program, but it never went anywhere. But then, as I said, it just evolved into working more with women. So yes, it did have to do with not being able to get clients, but that was a whole mindset thing, just not feeling good enough. I had goals and I had a vision of what I wanted, but that stuff that's deep inside you just wouldn't allow me to kind of move beyond that. But there was also the other part in that I was listening to other people.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some amazing experts out there and they've all got wonderful things to share and I do not want to take anything away from them. But in me forcing myself to do what they say also limited my growth. I just found that I was trying to do all of these things. I had people saying, oh, you need to create 3 different courses and you've got different levels of it and you need to create this and you need to have goals and you need to write everything down. And it was too much. It was very overwhelming, especially for someone like me who quite easily can get overwhelmed when I have too much coming into my brain. So when Mum passed away a few years ago, and it was kind of a time for me to take a step back and just let go of all of that overwhelm and really just take some time to be in that part of my life, but also reassess everything. What do I even want to do? But I left all that behind and I just started writing.
Wow.
All of these poems kept coming out of me and these short stories and these different things. And I had so many that I ended up putting them into a book. But it just really helped me to realize that writing is what I love. I wrote a lot as a teenager, all my soppy teenage romance novels that never got finished.
I love it. Hey, you could have the next Bridgerton or something in those writings.
Maybe. Sweet Valley High, that's what I was going for.
I love it. I remember Sweet Valley High. Oh my gosh, what a flashback. Amazing.
Yes, I remember all that and the show when it came out. It was exciting. But yeah, and then I just gave it up. I stopped writing for, probably about 20 years. And I never really even thought about it again, to be honest. And so I feel like that really, even though it was a challenging time with my mum passing away, we were not close. It was a hard relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff to kind of deal with in regards to that. But writing helped me to put a new perspective on myself, on that relationship, on my life, on all of the stuff that's always dragged me down. And it's come out of me and it keeps coming out of me. And now I feel like I am on that right track of where I want Love Body Woman to be.
I think you've highlighted something really important there. Quite a few things in terms of trusting yourself over all the advice and all the steps or protocols or strategies or this is how you make a successful business, blah, 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 knowledge that's out there. And you're right. We don't want to take that away from anyone because there is someone out there for everyone in terms of guidance and support, mentoring, coaching, however you want to, capture that. And that person who sells like a step process to create like courses to sell the thing that you want to sell, that might work for someone, but it might not work for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, having that moment where you're going, you know what, did you feel like you were forced, like you were trying to force something out of you that just wasn't there?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. I went and worked in a gym after I got my PT qualifications for maybe 6 to 8 months. And the guy I worked with who owned the gym, he was absolutely lovely and he was so supportive and he was in the way that he knew how. I didn't realize until after, I was like, what he was trying to guide me to do didn't feel right. So that's why it never really took off. I had a little bit of success in the gym, but again, I just don't think that was where I was meant to be, but it was a nice experience.
Yeah.
He's telling me I need to do this, 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 and this. And you got to, it's so intellectual. You got to write all this stuff down. You got to do points and this, and that. And that's just not how I do it.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see when you
yeah.
That's just not me. That is just not how I roll.
I'm a planner, which is really interesting because I love to plan. I love a list. I will write a list for everything.
Oh, I love lists.
Yeah. And I love being organized. But for some reason, when it comes to my business, I cannot action any of that. I really just, I'll plan out my week and write down what I would need to do for the week and what days I can do it. But if something else comes up, I have to learn to go with the flow and just go, okay, that's all right. We need to just focus on that now. And that one, yes, it's important, but it also can wait. If I don't do that, that's when the stress and the overwhelm really amp up and the mindset gets going and you can kind of tumble back into that old thought pattern of, I'm not doing the right thing. I'm always doing the wrong thing. And it just carries on and on.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think that's such a refreshing thing to hear. So thank you so much for sharing that, Kelly, because I feel like in business, and I feel like this is honestly coming out a lot more and I'm appreciating it within myself the more that I work in what I do now within my business. But I think for a very long time through anything we've done, whether we've worked for someone else, school, whatever, there's always this is how you do it. This is the process. This is the instructions.
this is how you get it done. Like, here's the beginning, there's the end. And for some people, they need that. They need the structure. They like the guidance. They like the process because they know where they fit in that. But then there's people like you and myself who, what I'm sensing and hearing from you is, we just need to trust the flow and do the things that light us up in that moment, knowing that we'll probably have the energy to get through some of that maybe not so fun stuff, or, you know, the things that we shouldn't feel like we're doing. But when we're in that mode to get it done, but when we sit there and force it, like, I don't know if you can describe what forcing feels like for you. I'll ask you in a moment. But for me, it just feels like I'm being strangled and I want to vomit. It's like, and it feels really uncomfortable and I don't enjoy what I'm doing. Like, yes, at the end of the day, I could say I did that and I tick it off the list, but it feels very heavy and not fun. And I want to have fun in my business and not feel like I'm being weighed down by a rock and, you know, trying to push something somewhere where that doesn't fit. So I think you've really highlighted something very refreshing there. And I hope this really helps some of the listeners out there, that it's okay to not go through the to-do list if it doesn't feel like that's right. It's okay to do what feels right in the moment and go with the flow. Does that ring true for you in that as well?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. That's something that I've had to trust myself to do, and kind of, which sounds counterintuitive, but force myself to do as well. Like, just really get inside my mind and go, it's okay. Like, yesterday I was doing something completely different than what was on my list, but in the back of my mind the whole time, it's going, no, you need to be doing something else. You're supposed to be doing something else. Come on, you got to do something else. And I'm just like,
oh, 100%. Shut up.
Like, enough. Like, feels like what I need to be doing right now, because it's going to be helping me. It was a personal matter, but it was something that I know is going to help me overall. So that voice that sits there in the back of your mind, sometimes you just gotta.
What do you say,
tell
Kelly?
it to be quiet.
Yeah. You can say the words if you need to. We're not censored around here.
What? Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I like to say.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's true. I mean, do you think the same thing or something similar, that this kind of like voice that niggles in the back of our head, it's come through some sort of conditioning or the way we've been raised, or where do you feel like it stems from in your perspective?
I think it comes from a lot of places. So I noticed within myself there were parts of me that weren't feeling very good. I'm like, where have they come from? Like, I don't feel like they've come from the me in this lifetime. Like, I could not pinpoint anywhere in my life that they've actually come from. Like, especially my quiet voice. Like, I was always quiet. I would not speak up very much. And I could never understand where any of that had come from. So I actually went to a numerologist a couple of years ago, and because I need to find some stuff out. And she was amazing. She told me things that nobody would ever know. So that was really helpful in discovering, you know, these parts of myself that, you know, they aren't actually from somewhere else. I brought them in with me into this lifetime.
Yeah. So are you talking in that sense like past life stuff, or that kind of thing? Yeah.
And I've been told a couple of lifetimes and what's happened and why that has caused my voice to kind of be non-existent almost, and why it's important for me in this lifetime to get over that. And maybe that's why, well, I know that's why this business is becoming what it is in the way that it is, and why I need to do it, because it's giving me voice.
Yes. And do you feel like the writing is part of your voice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely can write. Like, I can sit and have a nice conversation, but
yeah, of course you can. We're doing a great job here.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes, it kind of gets a little too much, and my voice just like, no, I'm done. But yeah, the writing, absolutely. I can get it out of me in a succinct way, and I can think about it. Like, if I'm a bit feeling pressure, then everything kind of shuts down.
Yeah.
But writing, I can think about it. I don't write quickly, although I'm learning to, but I can write it so much better.
Wow. So your writing has become the medium for your voice.
Yeah.
And so just explain, what were you previously doing with Love Body Woman? Like, what was it in that kind of essence? And are you able to like give us a glimmer of how it may be unfolding right now, or do you feel like that's still in its transformational stage and that hasn't quite fully evolved yet?
Well, how it was previously was sort of the same. I created another program and I loved doing it. I loved the creation side of it. I loved sitting and writing it. I loved filming it, and I did enjoy relaying it into video. But then getting it out there, that was the real challenge. But again, I just don't think it was meant to be. But it did make me realize a while after that the process that I did like in all of that was sitting down and writing and getting all of that stuff out of my head. So now it's just going with the flow. I know I want to write and I know I want to speak, surprisingly. And whatever comes from that, I just am trusting in the universe to help me do all of that. So, yeah, it's just trusting that process of where I'm going. I kind of, I think they know. I don't know.
Yes. So the team always knows.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just sit there and you're like, okay, team, just drop it in right now. Like, I'm ready now. Let's go now. And they're just sitting there going,
not yet.
They're not ready yet, my friend. There's still something you need to learn. Something you still need to figure out there. One thing I wanted to say was I can completely relate to the whole process and the excitement on creating that project of a course, like writing it, filming it, packaging it all up and going, I did that. And then never really like properly putting it out into the world or encouraging it to bloom or benefit someone else. During COVID, I
just hides away.
Yeah. I've still got it sitting there and I just have not done anything with it. So before I moved into sound bath healings and mindset coaching, I was a massage therapist. And during COVID, I signed up to do an online course creation program with Sarah Cordiner, who I've had on the show, and she's amazing at course creation. And I did it because I was so intrigued on how to do it. And I had this idea that, I could create like a little program and sell it. Like it was so much fun, like filming it, doing my makeup, doing the things. And I'll say this quickly. When I was deciding on what topic to do, I actually, because I was, even though moving out of the realm of massage, I still filmed a massage mini course. It was how to do self-massage, like for your neck and shoulders, like to help my clients potentially like sort their own problems out. Possible. Anyway, but I also sat on the realm of like, maybe I could have done a meditation course because I hadn't quite got fully involved in sound baths yet, but that was something that also sounded excited. Somehow I just fell back into the massage because that felt familiar. Created like 4 little short mini programs and nothing. So I feel like it was great learning. Like you said, we learn from these experiences, and perhaps what you've learned on how to create these programs that will help you in the future is obviously helped you understand that you love the writing and that's what you love within the process. But then, as you said, coming into that element of trusting what is to happen next and not force something can be really, really, for some people, frustrating and just terrifying, because there's that thing of, but I don't know what's going to happen. And I need to know, because to know how I can get started and how I can start, helping people or making money or support myself or whatever it is. Like, what do you mean I'm meant to sit here and trust? Like, how does that work? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's very hard not knowing what's going to happen. We all want to know what the future is.
100%.
Yeah. It would make life so much easier, wouldn't it? That's part of the fun, I suppose.
Look, to be honest, if we knew the ending, wouldn't really be challenged or enjoy the journey, right?
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't put anything into your life because you know the ending, but then the ending would change because then you haven't put anything into your life. So catch-22 there, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I do really like how you said like trusting the process and letting go and being open to what comes. Do you, in this period of time where you are shifting and changing your business, how do you know what steps you're ready to take? Like, how do you know that's the right thing to do? Like, how do you trust within it? How do you know that that's the trust, that's your next step?
Oh, gosh, that's the hard part of it. Knowing which part of you is actually directing you. Because, sometimes you get an idea. Well, I certainly know I have got an idea and I roll with it. And then I'm like, oh, actually, I don't think I should have done that. That kind of came from a different part. Yes, it was a lovely idea, but that's not where I needed to direct my time. So it is a very interesting feeling your way into what is the right way. It's just knowing within yourself the differences between what is your true guidance and what is that fucked up voice in your head going, hey, what about this thing? How about you just sit and scroll on Facebook for 10 minutes? That'll make you feel good. Yeah, right. Yeah. Do that. And you're like, oh, hang on, no. That was not the right guidance there. But it is, it's just really tuning into those different parts of yourself and understanding which one feels better and which one might feel okay, but you know deep down somewhere else that there's this little other feeling in there that's going, actually, no, that's not the right way.
Yeah. I think that's a really good thing to point out there, is being able to discern what part of it is, you know, like that bit that keeps yelling at us going, you should be doing this. Why the hell are you not doing that? You know, versus that trust within you, that deep feeling of, no, this feels good and this feels like it's on the right track. Do you sense that through like sensations or particular emotions come up? Because everybody has a different way of understanding what that trusting feeling or moment might be for them. What does yours look like?
It really, I guess it is literally a gut feeling. Like I do feel it here. I just get, sometimes it's a strong sensation. Sometimes it's just, you know, a little bit of something there. It's just a nice little feeling that kind of emanates in this area. It feels good.
I love it.
Yeah.
So at this moment in time, because I can imagine like someone from the outside who may be in that structured process, who loves like a business plan, some goal setting, and, you know, has their future direction already mapped up. They're going to sit there and they'll say, yeah, so you're just going to trust the process, Kelly, and just see what comes up. Like,
yeah. Well, I think you've got to trust in your own process, because I can't do goals. I have tried and tried and tried to write down goals and all the information that's meant to go along with a goal, and having a certain number of this and a certain number of that and a time frame and all of that stuff. I can't do it. But some people are quite successful at it. That's why I think a lot of people do still teach that way, because it does work for them. So you can have the best of both worlds and still have your goals, but thinking about your goals from that more trusting place instead of what someone tells you that you have to be reaching for, and being realistic and just going with that feeling and trusting that feeling. So if you do both and that works for you, then that's what you do. You find what works for you.
Yeah. I think that's such a good reminder, that because no business model should fit everybody. Like, we're all unique individuals. And I think what's coming through more and more is that we're all finding our own unique way of creating business and running business and making our business successful in the way that feels right for us. We know for a fact you can't force a small child to do anything they really don't want to do, because they're going to stick their head and their body and their feet on the ground. And they're going to resist it 100%, you know. It's the same with like trying to force an animal to walk somewhere or anything like that, you know, trying to stick a round peg in a square hole. You can't force these things.
No.
You have to let, I feel like there's a lot within this where, like what you're saying here is also like trusting that guidance, the intuition, the knowledge and the understanding that this is the path that's right for me. I am on the right path. It will shift and change and evolve. And I think that's the beautiful thing about business. It doesn't have to be this thing that we have for the rest of our life. We can shift and change, but also we can do it in a way that feels right for us. Because, you know, personally, if I'm not having fun and I'm not excited about what I'm doing, then it's not going to be within my energy exchange of anything I'm putting out there. It's going to be sensed by others that, oh, she did this out of force. She's not even excited about this. And it's going to not be well received. That's my own personal take on that. And I think the other thing I wanted to highlight here is that, and this is what we kind of previously talked about when you and I met up a few weeks ago, was that in the world, we can shift and change jobs as easily as we want, right? You know, some people will start out in corporate, then they move into like, you know, the government sector or vice versa, or they kind of shift their career around, and it's okay. Like, it doesn't matter that, you know, every 2 years you're working for a different company, or that, you know, you stay with one for that amount of time and you go to that one for another time, whatever. That's okay. Like, people accept that. But it's like within the business space of running and creating your own business, I think as individual business owners, when we have these moments, and particularly like you and myself, where we feel like, no, that's not happening for me anymore, I really need to shift and change it, we get caught up in the meaning behind it rather than just being like, you know, stuff what anybody else thinks about it. This is what I have to do because this is part of my guidance, my wisdom, and what I'm here to do in life, who I'm here to help and serve and share. I have to do this. Like, I can't continue doing what I'm doing because I'm not happy in it anymore. But we put so much meaning and we get so much caught up in what other people might think about that.
Oh, definitely. We can put our trust in a lot of other people as well, and their opinion matters. And when you are running your own business, especially in the way that we do, our families and friends don't always, or probably not even at all, understand what we do. And, you know, my husband knows that I sit in my office all day, but he wouldn't know exactly all of the bits and pieces that I do. So when I have chopped and changed a little bit, he's a bit confused and he doesn't know what's going on. But you can never really explain to someone why you're doing what you're doing because they'll never fully understand it. So expecting someone's opinion to matter more than your own is not going to be helpful to you in the long run, because only your own opinion matters, because it is what you're doing with your life. You feel that this is where you need to be. So why have someone come in and say, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing it this way. You should be doing it that way. And you might listen, and then you're like, hang on, that's not actually working. Maybe it worked for you, but it does not work for me. So yes, it's nice to talk to people and have people give you some advice, but ultimately you get to choose whether you take that advice and whether it feels right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also comes back to remembering like why you're working for yourself in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, who are you here to help? What are you trying to create or change within this world or support people in? Because we can get so lost behind the functioning and all the foundations of our business and things like that, rather than coming back to the point of, well, this is who I'm serving and who I'm helping. And one thing, you know, you've probably learnt now is that your writing is a medium for your voice. And in this lifetime, knowing that your voice had been suppressed from previous lifetimes or generations or whatever forms, and that this lifetime it's here to be healed, it's so that in future lifetimes and even in this lifetime, you know, you're helping to heal and support other people, because now you can speak freely. Now that you have that ability to share your voice in a way that feels great for you.
That just gave me chills. I felt that everywhere. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Yeah, it's taken me a very long time to get to this point where I can freely speak. I'm not 100% there yet, but every little bit has helped me to even be where I am now. And that's a million miles away from where I used to be as a 16-year-old girl who would just like be too scared to speak up because she thought that people were going to hate the words that come out of her mouth. They didn't want to listen to what she had to say. She was not worth listening to, all of that shit that used to go through my head. And I carried that with me for so long. So, you know, a lot of the work that I've done on myself has directly and indirectly helped my voice to open up once again and share this message that I really feel deeply and strongly about.
That's great, because the world needs you to do that, don't they? The world, the collective. Exactly. Energy, spirit, everything needs you to do that. Yeah, it's such a powerful reminder when you have those moments of going, now I understand why I am the way that I am, and knowing that it really does help you create that momentum to move forwards in what you want to create, bring to the world, share, and have all that sort of, it's like doing all that karmic healing as well, because when you're in that place of that higher self kind of place, it spreads, and that's the magic. So, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
If you were sitting down with another woman who was wanting to, like, she was in a similar situation where she's just feeling like she's not in the right place with her business anymore and she wants to shift and change. She doesn't know sure how it's going to look. She's a bit in turmoil with the whole process. What advice would you give her? What advice would you say in terms of knowing what you're moving through and what you have moved through? What advice would you give her that would be really supportive?
Listening. I feel like listening to yourself, to your higher self rather than your small self is absolutely key. Knowing what is going on inside of you, all of those thoughts, all of those feelings, the beliefs, all of that stuff that we carry with us that has us kind of hitting up against ourselves when we want to grow. I've had to learn about myself in a way that I was always too scared to. I didn't want to look beyond the surface of that horrible woman that I deemed myself to be. But yet there was something inside of me that kept saying and trying to remind me that I am more than that. That is not actually who I am. So I've had to go inside and within myself to really listen to what's going on in there, listen to my thoughts, listen to my feelings, find that intuition, harness that and hone it, and just learning about who I am and who I am in this lifetime and feeling my way into knowing what my life is meant to be and what it can look like, not what I think it was meant to look like. That all the old stuff gave to me, I guess. It showed me completely different person to who I was deep down inside, and that was the only person that I ever lived in. But yet now I know that that's just a facade that I put up to protect the real me because I didn't think anybody wanted to know the real me. I was not worthy of anyone knowing. I was not worthy of knowing myself and putting myself out there and actually having anything good in the world. So I've had to listen to all of that stuff and just questioning with love and kindness all of those thoughts and feelings that I have had. Okay, where have they come from? How can I change them? Are they real? Are they true? What exactly are they? It's just following your own guidance as you move through all of that, as you listen to that wonderful person that is inside of you, underneath all of that facade that we tend to put out there for other people to see. That's not the real us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such great advice. And I really, really like that you've said question everything, because I think that's something that really helps. Like you've said, it really helps you to tune in and ask yourself, is this true for me? Is this really my truth? Or is it something that's been created, a construct, something that's, that's fabricated and it's not the truth? And allowing, what I'm hearing from you is like allowing that part of you that is the true essence of you to have, to be stronger, to come forwards, to have center stage in a sense, like
to have more of a say in what your life actually is, rather than listening. Like I believed every mean and horrible thought inside my head, and it really affected pretty much everything I did. Even in those times when I was having a great time and I could just kind of relax, it didn't last long because, in they come again. You can't do that. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not good enough for that. And so back I go into that mess of a mind. And it was just, it got to the point where I'd had enough. Absolutely had enough. I couldn't actually live in that state any longer.
And in that moment, do you feel like it was that true part of you that was like knocking on the door quite severely and saying, Kelly, this isn't you, this isn't you, this isn't the truth, this isn't how you're meant to be? Like, what was it that really gave you that awareness of like, I've got to stop this. This is just not helpful. This is not my life, all those things.
It was actually just a normal day. And I'm pretty sure I was in my office, probably working away. And I just got this really kind, gentle, loving voice inside my head that said, you can change anything you don't like about yourself. And that was it. Like I've been trying and doing things up until that point. But those words specifically because I believe so deeply that that person that I had become was the only person I could ever be, those words helped me to see that, hang on a second, I don't actually have to be this way. This actually isn't me. If I don't like something, I do have the power within me to change it. And that just shot me off, skyrocketed me into this whole realm of stuff that I never knew existed. And it's helped me so much in letting go of all of that stuff that was not me.
Amazing. I got goosebumps over that too. What a divine message that came through, Kelly.
Yeah.
That's really special.
Yeah. And thankfully I listened, because I'm sure I've had that in the past and I've just completely ignored it. But that one I was in the right headspace maybe. But yeah, it came at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from that you took action. Wow.
Yeah. I've read every book I possibly can read, and I've listened to other people, and it's been wonderful, and listened to myself most importantly.
Do you know what? That's like the best thing ever, because I honestly believe, and through my own experience, but just witnessing so many other people, that often, I would say 99.999% of the time, the reason why we go into business to work for ourselves is because the work we do, our business, the thing that our company, whatever we want to call it, is the avenue to do the inner work on ourselves. And I feel like for some of us, we choose to be in business because, yes, we want to do things our own way. We've got something that we want to share. We're really excited about the things that we do. But within that, there are often lots of inner development work that occurs that has to go in on that moment as we're building and creating our business. For some people, I believe their inner work happens through relationships or maybe through health or something like that. But I've personally believe that when it comes to those who choose to work for themselves in business, it's often that's the avenue where they start unraveling some of that bigger, deeper inner stuff that's been smushed down a little bit, and it's now coming up to the surface because it's their time to do it, and they're doing it within this realm of working for themselves.
Yeah, Love Body Woman is me. It just encapsulates everything that I am. I can't really find another word for business, but I don't really like using it because it just feels a bit icky, that word. But because it's my life. Like, I really enjoy, as much as it can be a little tedious sometimes and a little frustrating and overwhelming, I now, certainly way more than I used to, enjoy what I'm doing. I love coming in here and writing and creating and just seeing what comes out. I'm in the process of writing my next book, and I love writing it. It fills me with so much joy. And I think if that's what fills you with joy, then that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you going to ignore that?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said, it could be I don't know what you're writing in particular, but, it could be the next Bridgerton, Netflix TV series.
It's a bit more personal. It's not fictional.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. But I mean, to trust yourself, to lean into that place where you're like, this is what I know I need to do. However this comes out and wherever it's going to take me, I know that this is the step to take, is really, really, really powerful, to have that space and time to really follow that guidance, follow that trust, follow those feelings, follow everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels so much better when you do. It really does, rather than getting up against yourself all the time. I have to do this and I have to do that. Someone told me that I need to do this and I need to do that. It's like, if it doesn't feel good, then why keep doing it?
Exactly.
Go with what feels good, and it's going to help you grow, and it's going to open up so much. Like, I'm having an interview with you now. It's always been my dream to kind of do this kind of thing, but it never happened before.
Yeah.
But now all these little doors are starting to open.
Is that exciting?
Everything. Oh, it absolutely is.
And I feel like, because you said to me before, one of my things is that I want to be a speaker, and a speaker can be someone who speaks in front of people, or however that may be, can be done in so many different ways. It can be done to like massive audiences, and it can be done to small groups, and it can be done through podcast interviews, and it can be done like through all sorts of mediums. So it's really exciting that I was like, oh, well, this is a great avenue for speaking, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Sharing your story and your wisdom and everything else. And it's all through a podcast interview. Like, who would have thought? It's great.
I know. God, podcasts didn't exist when I was younger.
I have to say, like, I think it was a few years ago, a friend of mine was saying, like, oh, yeah, I like to listen to a lot of like podcasts and things like that. And I went, like podcasts, like, oh, here I am.
Yeah.
But, for me, I realized that for me, I do like speaking and I like talking. Well, I like talking because I find it easier and faster than typing. I get tired typing, and I find talking is an easier way for me to say what I want to say at length rather than typing.
We're very opposite there, aren't we?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Type all day.
Yeah.
That's but awesome. Talking all day, I'll be exhausted. So
yeah. Oh, wow. Kelly, I am so blessed and grateful that you came on to the Alchemy Mindset podcast. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I just really know that this is so insightful and helpful for anybody who's out there who's had those feelings of, I feel like I'm forcing myself to do something and it doesn't feel right, or I feel like I want to shift and change within the work that I do, but I don't know how that looks. So I'm like, what do I do? And knowing that, I think the biggest thing here as well is, like you've said, learning to trust and question your beliefs and your thoughts and feelings as to whether or not they're true for you, because that's where your guidance comes from, and that's where that inner wisdom comes from, and your strength and all those things. But if you give way to that continuous bullshit chit chat,
yes,
not going to get you anywhere, is it?
No, it really doesn't. So I feel like you've shared so much great information and wisdom here. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Well, I want to say thank you to you for letting me come on the show and inviting me to speak with you. It's been awesome. Yeah, anytime. So Kelly, share with us how we can get in touch with you, how the listeners can hear more from you, learn more from you, and you've got something amazing for them as well, I believe. I certainly do. So you can head to my website, which is lovebodywoman.com. I have my own podcast called Shut the Fuck Up, all about my and that shit that goes on inside there. And my little freebie that I've got, which you can get from my podcast, is 5 simple ways to love your body as it is right now. It's free. It's just a nice little workbook. It'll go straight into your inbox. Have a look at it. And just a lot of women don't like their body. And I have been one of those women for a very long time. And again, that's just exhausting, hating my body, exhausting, hating myself. So I share in this workbook 5 simple ways to love your body as it is right now, whatever form it is, because you don't have to hate it. And these techniques that I put into the book have certainly worked for me over the years to love my body in all its wonderful glory. Yeah, I love that. That's a great workbook. I'm going to download it myself and have a look. We can all do this. We can all benefit from that exercise, I'm sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and they can find that through your podcast as well. Is that correct? There will be a link. Yeah. On all of the episodes from my podcast, there's links to all of that take you straight to the website, and it's on the front page. So it's right there for you. Amazing. Yeah, great. I will put all those links in the show notes as well, so people can just jump straight there. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you too. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hastie. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.